Hi, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Thank you so much for being here, guys. We have a full agenda. Good morning. Shout out to the members. Shout out to the new subscribers and shout out to the mods. Everybody come through, guys. Thank you so much for being here. I'm letting these notifications go out before we get started. And let me share this with everybody. We live now, crazy people. We live, we live, we live. Let me let the people in the Discord know. Shout out to the Discord members, y'all. Shout out, shout out. Uh Thank you, Ronan. Thank you. Sorry. I'm like letting the Discord people know that we are live. Good morning, everybody. Get in here. Get in here. Hold up, everybody. We live now. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Here you go. You're welcome. Shout out to everybody in the chat, guys. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, sorry, it took me a minute to kind of get it together. Okay, so this is the agenda for today. Because we definitely have a lot on the agenda, right? So we're going to start talking about Laken Snelling first, because that's a case that we have been following. Some of you guys may not be familiar with that. If you're watching the replay, I'm going to put a timestamp in the description box so you guys go directly to either Laken Snelling, or if we're going to talk about David, which is the next half. David is going to take me a little bit longer to talk about. That's why I'm leaving him for last. Laken Snelling should be a good, 10 minutes. So if you're not here for that, that's fine. Go get a snack, get your drink, do what you have to do. But we definitely have an update on the Laken Snelling case, and we have to get into it. So let's go right now. Okay, everybody, yes, hit the like button, please, and thank you. What is your like number in the chat? Thank you. Thank you. Y'all know the program. Thank you, thank you, thank you. He said, Rabbit never has misrepresented the story. If I wanted the good stuff, I find it here. Thank you, JJ. I really do appreciate you. Thank you. You guys are amazing. Okay. Let's get it together, guys. Let's get it together because we're going to start with Laken Snelling. Now, for those who are like, who is Laken Snelling? Who is that? Who is that, Rabbit? So Laken Snelling is a former University of Kentucky student. She was in the stunt team. So this is like I guess there's like the cheerleaders, but it's like the ones that really do the stunts and the backflips and the all kinds of flips, right? She's in that stunt team. She's 21 years old. And in 2025, it was the first week of September. Literally, we're still in September. She was arrested and charged when police discovered a newborn baby infant in an off-campus student housing, okay? Off-campus resident student housing. She was arrested. This baby was put in a trash bag, wrapped in a towel with cleaning supplies, okay? So at the time, she's 21. She's 21 now. She had court. When she went to the initial hearing, she pled not guilty, and she had court on Friday. Now, she's being charged with abuse of a corpse, tampering with physical evidence, and concealing the birth of an infant. Okay. The baby was taken to, they're doing testing on the baby. The cause of death of the baby has not necessarily been revealed. They're, doing kind of like the tissue testing and all this other stuff. It might take a couple more weeks before we truly find out how this baby died. Okay. In September 2025, she waived her right for a preliminary hearing. So her case is going to go directly to the grand jury. The University of Kentucky confirmed that she has withdrawn from the university. So she's actually from Tennessee. Okay. And she has basically, withdrew. She withdrew. Okay. She's back in Tennessee living with her parents. All right. Here you go. Thank you. And again, she's no longer part of the stunt team because she withdrew from the university. All right. So let's get into this. This is some interesting information that came about the hearing. And so I want to share it with you guys. Hold up, y'all. Why are all these tabs open on my thing? Here it is. Here we go. This is shout out to the person by the name of Kylie Hill TV Posts. Laken Snelling update. Newly obtained records revealed chilling details about Laken Snelling's newborn. Laken told the University of Kentucky Hospital staff her baby showed a little fetal movement and a whimper at birth. She guessed he was alive. Okay. One of the debates that everybody's had here online is like, well, was this baby even alive? Like, what happened? Right? Maybe she had a miscarriage. Maybe, and that could have very well possibly been the thing. But this is what was revealed at the hearing. Okay. She later told police she gave birth alone in a room around 4 a.m. The baby fell and she didn't think he was breathing or alive. Affidavits say she admitted to passing out on top of the baby, then waking up to find him turning blue and purple. She says she wrapped the baby up like a burrito and laid next to it because it gave her little comfort. She later placed him in a trash bag with the placenta and hid it in her closet. This is very graphic, guys. But to me, this is, you guys, we've covered Alexi Treviso here on this channel as a true crime channel. I mean, it's a very graphic situation. She gave birth to this baby in the bathroom. Let's keep going with these details, okay? So she wrapped the baby up. She said she wrapped the baby up like a burrito and laid next to it because it gave her little comfort. She later placed him in a trash bag with the placenta and hid it in her closet. Roommates, this is the crazy part because it was the roommates. It's being said that the roommates were the ones that actually found the baby, okay? Roommates reported hearing loud noises for about an hour that night. One later found a bloody soaked towel and the bag containing evidence of childbirth and the deceased baby. Can you imagine being a student and you're literally finding a dead baby in a bag? They heard her giving birth. The students did. Let's keep going, y'all. Okay? Again, this is a true crime channel. We're getting into details, educational content for reporting purposes only. It's very graphic. If this is too graphic, I suggest you guys, come back in about 5 minutes. Okay? Give me 1 sec, y'all. All right, hold up. After the birth, she told her roommates she fainted from not eating. Snelling told police that she left to go to her morning class, but sat in her car instead. According to the affidavit, she was not feeling well, so she ordered McDonald's. She then told police she picked up her food, went to the University of Kentucky Student Clinic, where she also did not go inside, and then she returned home. Police later arrived at the home after her roommate called them to report the baby. Snelling got home shortly after and she was detained. Search warrants show police examined her phone, Snapchat, Instagram, and Facebook and iCloud. They found pregnancy searches, labor photos she deleted, and evidence of a concealed pregnancy. Snelling pled not guilty to abuse of a corpse, tampering with physical evidence, and concealing the birth of an infant. Her case is being sent to the grand jury, which will decide whether or not to indict her. By the way, my friends, a group of students, I believe it was a total of 10 students, went to court with her on Friday to support Laken. Laken is 21 years old, guys. This is not a teen mom situation, okay? Laken is 21 years old. So people that have tried to, man, she was like, she was a kid, she was young, yada, yada, yada. They tried to, what is the word, infantilize her? No. She was 21. They had to bring in two guys that she was dealing with for DNA, a potential father of this child. Okay? She's not a child. She's a university student. Literally. So at some point, you kind of have to like find out like what's there's so many options, right? There, by the way, safe haven laws are there as well. So she could have given birth to this baby and said, you know what, I don't think that I don't think I could take care of this baby. Now, some of us, when we first heard this story, we were like, we are going to kid hands, right? We don't know what happened. We don't know what the cause of death and everything, but we're hearing that this baby was born alive. There was safe haven laws there. University, they had a student center clinic there as well. Like there's a lot that is in that area. Okay. This to me is totally ringing Alexi Treviso, guys. But y'all, let me know what you guys think in the comments. That's the latest update. And this is going to be a shorter video for this specific topic because I know we're going to get into the other stuff. Anyways, I know. I got everybody going. I do apologize, guys. Tier Talk, thank you so much for the $9.99. I hope all is well. I never got your email. I wanted to send you some of the links from my channel related to David coverage. I would love for you to see how and what we covered in the true crime. I never got your email. I don't know. The email is in the description box. My email is. You could just check it out there. The mods typically drop it, but check the description box. That's all my contact information as well on the about. But thank you so much for the $9.99 as well as the about page. You could definitely check me out there and reach out to me. Coco's mom, thank you so much for the $10. It's called Birth Control. Stop, you dumb girls. I don't know what happened. I just feel like y'all, we have to kind of keep a understanding that we could say maybe she didn't have access to clinics. Maybe that's what it was. But she's at a university campus. She was living there. What happened? Did she get scared? Was she concealing it? She was searching. So exactly what happened with that? Well, we don't know what Alexi Treviso's searches were, but this is a very similar case, guys. Alexi at the time was 19. Girl is 21 here. University of Kentucky student, stunt team. So there's pictures of her where she looks visibly pregnant. So was it that like she got scared? She could have stepped out. She could have like, or even the roommates could have like knocked at the door and called and, and stuff like that. It's a lot of questions that we have. Y'all let me know your thoughts in the comments. Okay, y'all are entitled to your opinion. True crime celebrity news. Thank you so much for being a member for 4 months. Thank you. Hey y'all, great job, Rabbit. Thank you. Fitz LA, thank you so much for being a member for 8 months, my love. Thank you. Appreciate you. Thank you so much. Is it Nixie or Nixie? Nixie or Nixie? Thank you for becoming a member. Shout out to you, my love. Thank you for becoming a member. Yeah, somebody could have called 911. The students had to find it, and she went to class after she attempted to go to class after she gave birth. Yeah, she's not a child. She's a grown-ass woman, y'all. I'm just saying. Now, do people get scared? Yeah, I would say so. Giving birth is a scary thing. Trust me. The first time I gave birth, I was very scared. A lot of us are. Painful and scared. After a couple times, you're like a graduate from it. You're like, let's go. And you do it. But I can understand it. But I don't know, y'all. The story is off. Where's the logic? We don't know. Anything could have happened. She could have said, I really don't want this baby. I'm going to give it to the, safe haven. They don't ask questions. You won't get charged. They're not looking for you. No questions asked. You know what I mean? Y'all let me know what you guys think in the comments. Ronan just gifted 5 memberships. Thank you, Ronan. Thank you for gifting. You want to draw? All right, let me get the color pencils and the crayons because somebody wants to draw. 1 second. Okay. Thank you, Ronan. Appreciate you. Thank you for gifting. And Sylvia, thank you again for being a member for 17 months. I feel like it's been longer, Sylvia. Love you, Rabbit. Love you too, Sylvia. Thank you, guys. It is wrong. It definitely is. This whole situation is all kinds of wrong, if that makes sense. To me, it's the lack of humanity, that they have no remorse, no empathy, almost like sociopathic behavior. Y'all are entitled to your opinions, but let me know what you guys think. But like I said, we definitely gonna be following this case a lot more in terms of that. And you know what? You're so right. There is a lot of miseducation about birth control, a lot of misconceptions. A lot of people, yeah, people will do weird things when they panic. You're right. Like not call 911. Very true. I do wonder how this case is going to pan out, but we definitely going to be on it. All right, let's move on, you guys, because we have so much to review when it comes to David. This will be a shorter video for sure. All right. Sorry, y'all. The art supplies is a thing. All right, let's move on, guys, because we have to talk about, first of all, shout out to SF Investigates. Oh, Lord have mercy. SF Investigates. Shout out to him. I told you guys that receipt that he put out there about that impound and all this other stuff. Ooh, it is fire, because literally we have a lot of questions. Like, it kind of gives an idea of like this car, evidence and stuff like that. I mean, literally, I think he did the internet a favor. I have invited SF Investigates to the channel. I know he's busy probably this weekend because, he's a PI and he's busy. He's out finding missing people. Shout out to him. So, and he's been on our channel before, so we might get him here. We might get him here. Hold up, y'all. Somebody's at the door. Okay, so we're going to get right into it. Here you go. Hold up, y'all. Here you go. You're welcome. You said they're not going to find the rest of Celeste. I don't know, Lan. I don't know how that would be. I mean, even talking like that is crazy. I don't know. I don't know. What do you mean not going to find the rest? I don't even feel like they've said her body is not intact. So I don't know what you mean by that. Okay, let's get into this video for commentary purposes, y'all.
My first guest tonight is a private investigator who specializes in missing persons, and he got his hands on the paper trail from that first ticket that went on the Tesla's windshield to the end of the line at the impound lot. And he learned that fed up neighbors called police about this car on August the 26th. An officer came by the very next day and left a ticket on the window. A second ticket was issued September 3rd. And the car was finally towed September 5th, 3 days before it became a key piece of evidence in what's now being confirmed as a homicide.
Wow.
Steve Fisher is the man behind that pro bono detective work, and he joins me now live. Steve.
Shout out to Steve, y'all. Drop some. Listen, Steve deserves all the flowers. He's been working on this, and part of it is because that's his work, searching for missing people. He goes out there. Really cool guy. Make sure you guys check him out on Twitter. Shout out to him.
Thanks so much for being on tonight. Tell me about the tow report that you were able to obtain and some of the information that you learned from the report.
So, it was first called in by a neighbor on the 26th. And the only note that was on it was when they asked for any identifying information besides the license plate, they noted that there was a large dent in the back. And, it was curious that there wasn't an odor mentioned. Now, that doesn't absolutely mean that in the conversation with the agent, they didn't mention that and it just didn't get reported. But, in LA, a traffic officer has to come out at least 3 times before they can tow it on 3 different days. They have to chalk the tires, make sure it hasn't moved, because
this is interesting. I didn't know that an officer had to come out at least 3 times in order before they actually move the car.
Legal to park on that street.
Interesting.
So, as far as what was gathered from that, it was nothing regarding the smell or anything, but for it to get towed from that area, considering there is no parking restrictions, it had to be there quite a while, I think.
Well, let's talk about that, because not only did you get your hands on the towing report with all the information it yielded, but you also knocked on some doors and you found some of the neighbors who indeed knew about that car and knew how long it had been there. What did they tell you?
I talked to someone that, nobody wanted to be on the record, but they said that they believe they're certain the car was there more than a month.
Y'all
There
hear
was somebody
that?
else that said that the car had moved around a couple different times, but that's going back as far as May. It had been moving around, and from those photos actually were embedded with the ticket that was taken. So when they provided the ticket on the 3rd, they give images, in case it goes to court and they can back it up. They're really high res images. I could really zoom into them. And
He was in advanced stages of decomposition, guys. So, like I said, we don't know when was the last time. Like, I had asked the question, and I know that some people have said, at least speculated, that she might have had last contact with family or friends sometime in July. She could have been well gone June, July, maybe, for advanced state of decomposition. Where did she die?
I mean, that dirt is caked on that car. So I think that car got dumped a lot earlier than a lot of us think.
Yeah, and I'm just looking at the pictures at the same time you are on screen, and our viewers are seeing it too. One of the things I noticed with the caked on dirt is that you would not have been able to drive it with windshields that caked. It would have been really hard to drive. So, and I'm just so sad when I see this car parked here, because you know that she's in the trunk in this image, and it's so.
It literally, like, even seeing that picture, there's a child in this trunk of a car. Landa, we don't know. So just so people are aware, people are walking back the dismemberment. If you have not been watching the last couple of reportings or lives, they're changing the narrative about the dismemberment. So we don't know. The coroner's office didn't even say that. We have an email with the coroner's office, so we don't know. For those that are kind of going back and forth, that's still up for speculation whether she was or wasn't dismembered, believe it or not. Even though a lot of us heard what we heard, they're not saying that anymore.
Sad. Yeah, it's extraordinarily sad. It's not just a parked car that's getting a ticket and getting towed. It's a tomb where a girl had been decomposing, day after day after day. But it's interesting you say a month, but then it's also interesting you see the police came back 3 different times and chalked the tires. What's the protocol for them? Why didn't they tow it the first day they were called?
So they're not allowed to tow it unless it's documented that it has not moved in 72 hours. So now when they came out on the 26th, or they got called on the 26th, they came out first on the 27th. That happened to be Labor Day weekend. So, it wasn't until the 3rd, until Labor Day was over, they came out the second time. But by ordinance here in LA County, and I do very familiar with this because I live in the area, you have to move within 72 hours. If it's called in as abandoned, it has to also have other factors, such as it appears to be abandoned. If this car was clean, it wouldn't have been towed.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah. The fact
it wouldn't have been towed if it was clean. This is a great question, Deborah. The coroner's office has not made a complete autopsy, or have they made a conclusion? The coroner's office has already submitted the letter, basically said that they're still pending investigation. So they sent out the front sheet of her, and we talked about it about maybe 2 lives ago. We have that front sheet report that basically says that they're still we could look at it again, that they're still looking into it, but they have not necessarily given a cause of death yet. We don't know yet. We don't know. They're still in bed. They gave her a death date of September 8th. That was the day that she was found. We don't know that's when she died. So that could very well be amended and changed and all that other stuff. But this is a great question, Deborah. Again, a lot of this is still up in the air. And I have not picked up I told you guys that I did order the coroner's report for my own documentation. I have not checked the mail yet. I'm pretty sure it's probably out there now. So I'm going to probably go this weekend and check it.
That, the first call came in, and 8 days later, it was towed. Each time they came out and established the 72-hour rule and had those 3 that they have to have. Did the neighbors that you talked to say anything else about, other than, yeah, it's been here for about a month? Did anybody say it smelled?
Not that I talked to. I know that I've seen reports that somebody did, but not that I talked to. However, the street that it's on, and I don't know if this was done on purpose or not, but the street Bluebird is just this little street with about 6 houses on it. It kind of makes a semicircle that wraps from one end of Doheny and meets back up to Doheny. So it's not a super traveled street. Now Doheny is, so you drive by it, but where it was is kind of like a strategic area where there's only, see that road right there wraps around to the right, and then it connects.
It's weird, like, because he's saying that it's not a super traveled street, but there's a lot of parking there. So maybe this is just a street where everybody parks. But the way I see it, look, you see it's a Texas license plate. The way I see it is that if he's living in a 3-car garage, that would raise my eyebrows if I'm a neighbor, to be honest. If there's a garage and you're not parking your car in the garage, unless you're living in one of those like apartment garages where you rent, like it's the garage is not attached to your apartment. I've seen that happen where people just park their car in the street, but don't, like, they use the garage for storage. Does that make sense?
Again, to the main road. So there's not too many people that will walk by it. And these hedges on this house are so high that it really takes out people walking on the other side of the vehicle.
Privacy.
So I don't know if it was actually done strategically, but if you're going to leave it somewhere, that's as good a place to leave it as any.
Well, the curious thing is, listen, and this is a sort of a weird topic, but I have a septic field and a septic system, and I've grown up that way. And I know that when the winds shift, it doesn't matter what kind of hedge is nearby. It doesn't matter if it's 30 feet away. You can smell those odors. And I'm just wondering if anybody on the other side of the hedge or across the street, or within, say, 50 feet of where that car was parked, had noticed that smell and wondered what it was. Because I believe the only report we had about that car was that somebody thought a dead animal was nearby.
Yeah, and I'll bet you now, in hindsight, they might. But I think that, without this happening, you walk by a car, it's the last thing you think is that somebody's in the trunk, deceased. And so you probably chalk it up to a bunch of other things, like you said, a sewer line broke. I mean, it's LA, stuff like this happens a lot. I'm talking about like sewer lines and whatnot. And there's a lot of construction going on in that area all the time. So you could chalk it up to, they hit a line or something like that. I mean, really the last place people go is there's a body in a trunk, Now, of course, now that we know that happened, it's easier to think that way, but,
Oh, yeah. Hindsight's 2020,
Yeah.
But I'm going to ask you about the damage on this car, because you've got a lot of insight into something we haven't all noticed in the video. But before I do that, I want to ask you about this location. I thought it was blocks and blocks away from David's house. It isn't.
No, I'd say it's probably 150 feet to.
So this car wasn't parked far away from David's property, or at least where he was staying at. The dust shows that the car hasn't been touched in weeks, Rabbit. That's what I'm saying. And even when SF on his Twitter, he zoomed in, that dust looks settled. It looks like it'd been there for a while, which then if he left on tour, if you guys have been following this to a T, when did he leave on tour? Because then he didn't really touch his car unless he didn't take his, somebody had to have access to his car. Or did he say, all right, I'm leaving the car here for a month and then just not have a car around this time? It's weird.
Doheny Place, which he's on, from the rear of, from the trunk of that vehicle, because he's the first spot. They're parked on the first spot there. It's very close. In fact, on a weekend, I could see somebody parking there because there wasn't street parking on his street, because his street's very small.
Like, it's one street over from where his house actually is?
Half a block, because his street is really kind of like almost like an alleyway. It's not an alley, but it's really a half of a regular block, because the way the neighborhood's split up, it's very close. You could throw a rock at it.
This is the only car that's registered to him. Guys, this is a very expensive car. I believe, even though it's like I think he said it was a 2023, it's still over $100,000 of a car. Like, it's still worth well up there.
It's unbelievable. It almost makes you wonder if the smell might have even reached the front door of that mansion. Let me ask you about the damage. I didn't notice damage in the towing and in the drone videos, but what did you know about?
Well, I didn't really know until I saw these photos. And this car, this is a 2023 Model X, he paid $4,000 for this. I've seen the invoice, and it's just beat up. I don't know what they've done to this car, but I mean, all the wheel wells are have got damage, and I'm not really a car guy, but those side fenders on the other side are off. There's huge dent in the rear. The guy parking there also noticed front right.
Look at this. I don't know if y'all saw this, but look at this. This is why I asked the question: who puts a tree air freshener in their Tesla that's worth well over 100,000?
I'm not really a car guy, but those side fenders on the
That's a tree right there, y'all. He had a tree air freshener hanging there. Like I said, I asked you guys a question. You guys came back on my chat. We're like dragging me. Rabbit, I know that there's Teslas out there with tree air fresheners. I said, I had never seen a Tesla with a tree air freshener. Even SF was the one that pointed this out. I can't even take credit for that, but I don't remember. You said people who smoke weed? But what is that what is a tree air freshener supposed to mask? Like, weed is strong. Who does this?
The other side are off. There's huge dent in the rear. The guy parking there also noticed front right damage. So I don't know what happened to this car, because I've seen, for instance, I found a Google Maps image of it happening parked in front of the house, right? The street view. And it does not look damaged there. So I don't know when this happened or how it happened, but it almost looks like it's been off road.
Originally we all thought it was a Model Y until this video showed the door handles. And
Steve has been correcting News Nation about the model of a car. Shout out to Steve Investigates. Don't play with Steve. Don't play with SF Investigates. Shout out to him. Reese says, who even uses those cheap air fresheners anymore? I know I have one of those Yankee candle fresheners on my car because it's cute, but also like I feel like it lasts longer than the tree one.
Door handles apparently are the giveaway for the Model X because they're angel wing doors. They go up instead of out. And so the reports are all changing. I mean, every official report that we saw was a Model Y. It looks very much like a Tesla I have, which is a Model Y, but apparently it is this Model X. And I can tell you one thing, my Tesla was not 104,000. So this is a really souped up version. Mine was like a fifth of that, honest to God. I can't believe
the X has got
that car was that expensive.
Yeah, the X has got a larger front too. It's 6.6 cubic feet as opposed to 4.2 like the Model Y. So kind of explains how she might have fit in there as well.
Well, that's a very sad fact that I'll end on. Gosh, I thank you, Steve. Really great digging. I appreciate you doing that. Please come back and talk to us again, because I know that you're still watching this story and digging.
Shout out to Steve, SF Investigates. You said that air freshener is in his Afterlife song on YouTube. Really? Wow. He posted, guys, David posted a short on his channel. I don't know if you guys saw it. We'll look at it here in a minute. He posted a short. And not recently. I want to say maybe last week, but I was like, this is around the time it had to have been after she was identified. We'll check it out. And Nixie, thank you so much for this beautiful, wonderful super chat. That air freshener is in his Afterlife song. And now I'm gonna have to go check. Literally, we got to check it out. But Simone said that maybe the air freshener to mask that body smell. I wonder if it worked up to a point.
On this story, as we all are. Appreciate this.
Thanks for having me.
Crazy. Okay.
Steve Fisher joining us.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe.
All right, be quiet, Cuomo. Shout out to Cuomo. Okay. We got to talk about another interview, guys. So SF Investigates did another interview, and this is something that, like I said, people are really scared to talk about. I'm not, but let's talk about Josh Marshall. So SF did an interview with Lauren Conlin. Shout out to Lauren Conlin. And this is her chat. So I had to search. They did an interview, I want to say 22 hours ago. Yeah, 22 hours ago. And I had to search this because I was like, this is so this email. There was a discussion about an email, right? Josh from Interscope was sent an email about Celeste in 2024. Josh was aware, and SF gets into this email. SF was the first person to put this out here about this email. Let's get into this, okay? Listen, shout out to Lauren. Make sure you guys check out her channel and subscribe.
In the front of a Tesla. So That money is blood money.
That
but
money.
if it's true, we
If
right?
it's-
We don't know.
if
We don't know it's true.
No, if it's
Yeah.
true.
This is
Now-
my issue. It's like until we know, we're
That money is blood money. Now I kind of want to go a little bit further before. Let me go a little bit before, just to see exactly what the context is of that, because I don't want to lose myself in here. Here we go.
seem to
Yeah.
sort of explode. But then you also heard that students may have been getting paid to look the other way. And that's what that photo was in the school parking lot of David with just like an average looking student, you know,
Yep.
who the hell knows what they're doing? I don't know what they're doing, but
And that's gonna be a part of this too. Now, if they were minors at the time, they're probably gonna skirt anything. But you know what? They have, you know, they should have a pretty guilty conscience themselves too, because what they did is they took the money over helping this girl, and now she ends up dead in the front of a Tesla. So
The definition of blood money. If people were taking money, if anybody was taking money, any kind of hush money, and they knew about this relationship and didn't report it, and it sounds like a lot of people knew, yeah, that would be the definition of blood money. Yeah, you guys, like she's now in a trunk.
that money is blood money.
but
No.
if it's true, we
If
right?
it's-
We don't know.
if
We don't know it's true.
No, if it's
Yeah.
true.
This is
Now-
my issue. It's like until we know, we're looking in all these weird directions, and I'm just like,
80% of the time these come back that that's not what it really was. You know, it was something else. But I will say
Yeah.
that I do know, I listen, I have seen text messages. I do know that there was a certain amount of people that knew her, that were around her age, that knew where she was and who she was with. And I think that goes down to even some family members. So, but again, it comes down to, you don't want to run the risk of her keep running away, or is she safe? And
Yeah.
of course it's like, oh, she's with this rich guy. I'm sure that part of that is like,
This is a real thing, right? For kids that chronically run away. And if you know where they're at, and if you go out there and you look for them, they're going to continue to run away. They're just going to find a different spot. This is a thing, right? Because like I told you guys, I told you this before, this is an issue. You can't get, if your child is running away, you can't get your hands on you cannot lock your child up in a basement so they don't run away. You can't put a chain on your child. You can't do in that, because then you're crossing the lines between child abuse and that situation. It is unfortunate, but that is the reality of it. What happens when a child chronically runs away? You do your police report, and even, okay, girl, even the officers are, they just kind of like, they don't go out looking for this runaway. But if they come across this runaway, they'll bring the runaway back, and then the runaway runs away again. This is a chronic issue that happens. There's no real solution to this quite yet.
like comes into it where you can't justify it, but it's just like it gets really and also nobody thinks that this is going to happen, right? Like worst case scenario, nobody's going to think that she's going to end up dead. It's more like, oh well, but she's not in school, and and that's the thing. It's like David and especially Josh, the manager, and listen, Josh is there's a whole bunch of people from Interscope that were involved in his career, and listen, I'm sure he has publicists.
A whole bunch of people involved in his career. He has publicists. He's got a lot of things. Listen, there's a lot of people that were aware about what was going on. I don't believe it just falls on Josh Marshall from Interscope. Now, hold up. Let me shout out some people because I don't want to get too behind. Emily T, thank you so much for becoming a member. Shout out to you. Thank you. Sharad, thank you so much for gifting 5 memberships. I really do appreciate you, love. Thank you for supporting the channel. Tier Talk, thank you again for the $4.99. Remember, his choices to be with the minor affects everyone. He provided a lifestyle, so there can be many who can have a motive. Remember, I'm glad that you said this, but let me get into something that you just said, that she was reported as a runaway. Officially, was it last year in 2024, right? When did he obtain this property? So now she had a place to go if he had a property. Because when she was running before, I mean, where was she going before? This was probably the first time that she was actually on the run and actually staying away for a long period of time, because she had a place to stay at. Right?
People that were in his orbit, like, why wasn't anybody like, shouldn't she be in school? Shouldn't, they were just letting her like destroy her life. And
I wanted to ask you, what you live in LA, you live in this world to a degree.
Mm-hmm.
What are your thoughts on Josh Marshall? And did you have thoughts on him before you found out about his his connection to David as his manager?
I didn't know Josh. I didn't know Josh or know his name. I have dealt with people in that music world before, just because of somebody I was involved with a long time ago. And so I've seen that enabling, right? And I saw it with this girl that I dated that was in that world, and kind of the same thing happened where
it's a thing, right? Think about it. And thank you again, Tier, for this $4.99. Think about it, guys. She was a chronic runaway. She ran away a couple times, at least 3 times that we know of, right? In 2024. She wasn't running before that. She didn't have a place to stay before that. She had a place to stay once David had his property. Once David had a property for her to stay at. So now that makes sense to me. Before, she probably didn't have a place to run. I don't know, man.
It just seemed like anything you ask for, you can get away with. You just believe you're like bulletproof, and I think to an extent that's why he thought anybody could get rid of the car. But I can definitely tell you that these managers, and I've been like directly in that world before. These managers know everything about their clients. They literally manage their entire life, not just their music career. Everything is like and he was put, I wish I could say exactly who this email letter was sent to, besides Josh, but there are people very, very close. There's a lot of people that were put on notice.
Can you read it to us, the email, without giving anything away?
But I can tell you, it wasn't just like Josh. It was like.
Can you reintroduce what it is, just for people who might have just been joining?
Email.
So when she went missing in 2020,
y'all pay attention to what he says about this email. Okay, Josh from Interscope received this email. Okay, about Celeste.
24. Some of her friends and family knew, like, they knew about David or whatever, and somebody, so there's like a language barrier with the mom does not speak English, and the dad is not in the country, and so somebody was helping them. Somebody is very close to the family and Lake Elsinore and knows all of them, and wrote a letter kind of on their behalf. And it was an email letter. It was sent to Josh, and
somebody wrote an email on behalf of the family because the family does not speak English. Somebody wrote an email to let him know. First of all, the family knew that he was a celebrity. How do you get to him? Through his manager.
A family member of Josh and some other people, and basically said, we know that she's with him. I don't think they knew the address at the time, but they knew she's with him, and that they included the missing persons flyer. She's a missing person. She's 12 or 13 at that time. And the next I think it was the next day or the day after, she showed up. She just showed up on her own back home.
How did these people know Josh but not David?
It was an adult. It was an adult that just
a family friend of Celeste.
Somebody that, if you're trying to get a hold of David, I guess you could, and you have any knowledge of the industry and stuff, you could be like, okay, I can look up who his manager is and contact his manager.
So you think these people, these friends of Celeste or family friends, they knew of David, they knew he was a singer, they didn't know how to get in touch with him, but they knew enough to Google possibly his manager. So they retrieve Josh Marshall's email just as strangers saying, hey, we think she's with your client or whatever. And then the next day she shows up back home.
Yes.
They actually dug a little bit deeper into that.
Look at this is the crazy part. Y'all got to pay attention to this part, because literally it just says a lot. Josh better be careful, because he might be in trouble too.
And find out a little bit more about his personal life and people around Josh. So again, I don't want to give up. It would give up the person and they don't want to be given up. But but the thing is, she showed up within 24 hours or so. So and then about a month later, she split again.
Whoa, Steve. I mean, so Josh is going to be sitting right next to David in the cell, allegedly, if
Josh is going to go down on this, I think. And again, it's shocking. I understand Interscope's probably like, don't nobody say anything, including David. But if I was Josh trying to save my career, I'd be like, I'd want to get out in front of this. I get what it.
Do you see that? You see that? Family doesn't speak English. They send somebody to send the family, the manager, an email, and then they attach the missing person poster of Celeste in 2024. The manager, Josh Marshall, can't say he didn't know. He put his social media on hiding private, guys. He knows he's in trouble too. Allegedly, but he knows. Allegedly, but he knows. Okay?
Defense attorney's going to say, yeah, but defense attorney's going to say, and I understand why. But I'm talking about the court of public opinion, not the, you got to, like, if you're balancing both because you're a public figure, it's like, okay. And I know that's like every defense attorney is going to be like, nope, I don't care about your career. Like,
yeah,
go out of prison. But the silence is deafening in this case. Like nobody from his camp has said a word.
Wait, how did that go under the radar for so long? Like, I guess I'm confused also because
but it didn't go under the radar. People knew, nobody did anything. People knew, people just didn't do shit about what was being said. That's the thing. Tier, thank you again for the $4.99. David and Celeste party. She may have smoked a lace rug and overdose and they panicked. Minor in a house, reckless plus career ending risk, cover up, period. How much did Josh play a role in this? Right? It's definitely, I mean, it's a career ender now, guys. Honestly. Yeah, people ignored it. They didn't care to help the situation. Right, Randall? Tell them louder. People knew what was up and they ignored it. They didn't care. Money and status can imitate people. Absolutely. And I think they said it earlier in this interview. I didn't play that part. I suggest you guys watch it because this interview is good. Look, they said it earlier in the interview that mom and so dad, here's some information about Celeste's dad. Dad's not in this country. Dad's in Mexico. Excuse me, in another country. Why am I assuming? I'm assuming it's Mexico, but he's in another country. Okay. He could be in other countries, but I think they said it was Mexico. Dad is not here. Dad is in another country. Mom has raised the kids on her own. Okay. So that should give you an idea. Mom, essentially, people were trying to figure out how to help the situation and stuff like that with her being on the run. The other part too is that there's a worry about indocumentation, right? Like there's a worry about and this is a real thing for a lot of Latino families, especially right now in this climate. If you go and you report your kid as a runaway, are they going to deport me because I don't have my documentation? Imagine being in that situation. I'm not here legally. Are they going to deport me because my kids, but I have to report my kid as a runaway? Are they going to deport me? This is a real issue that's happening right now. So there's a lot of runaways out there whose parents are undocumented, but the fear is that if they go report their kid as missing, they might be deported too. So real issue. Real issue.
So, and somebody just asked this. Hold on. They said, why was there still an official missing person report active if she was in contact with her family? Well, it came out that initial April missing flyer, that was just what people were using when she was found deceased. Oh, look, this girl was missing at one point. She did return. She did leave again. So we know that. And I'm assuming that this letter was probably around April or February, maybe of 2024, Steve, or was this before?
They've asked me not to give the exact date. No, but yes, but you would no, but you'd be right. You'd be right.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, just from what we know of this timeline,
we just kept it at 2024. But yeah, I mean, You're right. You're saying, yeah, a little earlier in February. Well, I just said February, around February, maybe.
Yeah. I guess I'm just like, okay, so how exactly was this?
So there was a missing persons report open, and so this is
an important piece that Steve explains. I think people need to understand, because people don't understand. Every state does something a little bit different when they're chronic runaways, but this is kind of similar to what they do in my state as well. They leave an open report. He kind of gets into that, and I think it's important for people to understand, because people think that, oh, it's a runaway, that the police are just out there looking for runaways. They are not. They're not out there looking for runaways. If they confront, if they're in a, dealing with something, and then they happen to see that this kid is reported missing or a runaway in their system, then they'll do something about it. But if you have a child that's running away and it's chronic, they're not out there looking for a runaway. That's not how it works. You can call your child as a runaway, doesn't mean that they're out there looking for your child.
Being that I only work missing persons cases, is so frustrating because the way these runaways get treated. So what happens is, she'd already run away before. So now you open another missing persons report on her, that she's going to be labeled a habitual runaway. They're going to take the report and they're going to put her in a system called NCIC. And basically what that is if she comes in contact with any law enforcement agent around the country, she'll be flagged as a missing person. They'll then call the detective and be like, have her here. They'll do it. They're not out looking for her. When she initially goes missing the first time, they'll look for her. But once she's habitual, she's a runaway, and they're not looking for her. So this report's in there. So even if the family is in contact with her, one, I don't think the family is letting law enforcement know that. But even if they are, law enforcement can't clear a missing persons report until they do what's called a locate. And that means, so if I call and I say, hey, and this happens in every case where I do find someone, I call and like, hey, I found so-and-so, right? And they'll be like, okay, we got to do a locate. So they send an officer out and they verify that it is the person. And if they're under 18, then they're taken to their home or whatever is set up, whether it be CPS has intervened or.
And they can run away again. That's the thing about chronic runaways. An officer can pick up a runaway, and then they take the runaway back home, and then they run away again, or whoever the guardian is. This is an issue that does not have any, like, there is no solution quite yet. And it's so frustrating, because it's like, you want to be able to, I don't want any kids on the street, right? Hell, like, nobody does. Nobody wants somebody else's kids out the street. We also don't know what's going on in the home. So kind of take that information for what it's worth. You said as a constant runaway, there's a lot of kids run away all the time, you guys. It's so sad and scary given the magnitude of what is going on out there. Put a 1 in the chat if you guys were following the Amber Alert. There was an Amber Alert of a young guy who turned out to be fake. Like, even that, I take that to heart, because it's like, how is that a fake Amber Alert? Young guy who apparently, why do they involve the cartel or something like that? And then it turns out it was a fake story, y'all. Crazy. But it's a real thing. The runaway stuff is a real thing.
But if it's an adult, they'll ask them, do you want there's been a missing persons report filed for you. If they're of sound mind, then they'll say, listen, you have the right to either, we can tell them that you were located and clear the report, and we just call and say, we've located them, they're safe. We can't give you any other information. They don't want their location given. That's perfectly fine. Or they can put them in touch with, who's been looking for them. Most of the time people are like, I don't want them to know. And now in her case, that wouldn't be a factor, but they'd have to do a locate. So even if.
So are they going to charge the parents for a false report? That's what I want to know. Are they going to charge the parent for a false report? Yes. He said 4 Mexican men shot and kidnapped him. False report. Girl, they were looking for all kinds of Mexicans out there. With the climate that's going on right now, that's what I want to know. Are they going to arrest the parents for that? It's crazy.
The family had said, hey, we have to talk to her. Unless the officer actually put eyes on her, they're going to keep her in the system. But it just sits there because nobody's looking for them. These kids just get forgotten about. It's so sad. They're giving up. They're just like, hey, we're just forget it.
Yeah, but what Ashley said, the minute you said this, and she put this in the chat, I was thinking the same thing. I was like, wait a minute.
They do.
You can't call a 12-year-old. I mean, sure, you can say they're a runaway, but you can't just say, okay, well, I guess a 12-year-old ran away.
If we're saying that they're not old enough to consent to anything, not just sexual stuff, but not old enough to consent to make their own decisions and stuff like that, then we can't say, well, they ran away once. They can do it on their own. It's like you can't have it both ways.
That's
it's like
right.
They're not runaway. Listen, with it, that is when you really need, as far as I'm concerned, that those are actually more critical cases, because these are kids. Okay, I get it. Kids, they're going through a time. They get upset. They run away. But if they're doing it habitually, then it's time to jump in. Then with some trained therapists and find out what's going on at home. Why don't you want to stay there? Is there something that we need to know about? Is there abuse? Because so many times, especially in foster, I mean, listen, I love foster parents when they do stuff, but there are some bad actors in there too. And find out so many times these kids, like on my Twitter, I have a pinned story of this 14-year-old, just tragic situation. And finally we sat down and talked to her, and we're like, what is going on? Why do you keep doing this? And she's like, I just want to be heard. She's like, I just want somebody to listen. And like, she was getting, I mean, the stuff that was going on to her. And we sat down there.
Yeah.
And we're like, what do you
guys, the false report is on a separate case, guys, not on Celeste. Okay. We were just detouring. There's a separate case where a kid made I guess there was a false Amber Alert about a kid being kidnapped by 4 Mexicans, and he was shot, and that was a false report. Nothing to do with Celeste. We were just giving an example about runaways and people that make false reports, and should people get charged type of situation. I think this all ignores a groomer's intentionality separating a child from a family. Period, Michelle, right? Honestly. It really does separate all of that. Anyone remember the Ruby Farias case too? That was wild. He was never actually missing. It does happen, right? Anyways, let's keep going. And then we're going to move on to another segment of commentary.
She's like, this is the type of treatment I think I need. This is where I want to go. Like, not the exact place, but I just like, I don't want to be locked up. Like, I feel like I'm in jail in this like juvenile place. And we work with.
That's not always the case, Princess. Kids don't just run away. There's always some type of abuse in the home. That's not always the case. I've seen really great homes. I've worked with people that have gone above and beyond, and it's not always that. Sometimes there have been situations where there are undiagnosed mental health issues. Maybe the child's going through something, and they cannot always regulate in that spot, so they're like running away. So I wouldn't necessarily chalk it up to say that every child that runs away from home is abuse, like there's abuse there, because that's not always the case. Now it does happen, don't get me wrong, but I've seen situations where it's like you can have a great home, great resources, a lot of love and support and care, but the child, for whatever reason, maybe the child's being groomed. That might be the case, which is, it happens a lot. So everybody has a little bit of a different experience.
Further, and we worked with FBI, and we got her into this place, and she's thriving today, but instead of just this, hey, you're a chronic runaway, we give up on you. Well, if they can't consent to make their own decisions, then why are you leaving them out there on their own? Why don't you go talk to them and be like, why do you keep running away? Is there something we need to know about? Is a parent, is a family member, is a neighbor, is somebody doing something to you? Like what? But they don't do it.
No, and this goes back to sort of what you said. Celeste's mother doesn't speak English. It sounds like her father was not in the country. So, she didn't have this support system where her mom knew what to do.
What do you do in a situation like that? It's all abusive homes. Mental illness comes from abusive parents. I have a mental illness. If you consider ADHD, that's a mental illness. This is such a generalized statement. Like, I don't know if you're just trolling or if you really believe that, which I don't know if I'm really like, I don't know what to make of your comment. But maybe if you take a nap, you might come back and maybe say something with a little more intelligence, if that makes sense. But thank you. Sometimes it's mental health, sometimes drugs, sometimes financial at home. Sometimes it's just being dumb teens, period, Kelly, period, Some can consider it that if if it's when you're looking for a diagnosis, Mandy. So some people don't consider it that, but some people can consider it that. Don't you need support? Some people need support to, deal with their ADHD. Yes, it can be considered a mental illness as well. Okay, now what you make of it, completely up to you. I have ADHD. I'm all over the place. Doesn't mean that it stops me completely. There's some areas that it affects me. And yeah, it's best for me to maybe go get some medication and talk to a therapist. But everybody has a little bit of a different thing that they do to handle these kinds of various, issues. But yes, it's considered. And it doesn't mean it's a defect. It just means that that's what it's classified technically. Okay.
Not from this country. You don't know what the hell to do when your kid runs away. I mean, did her mom possibly have a boyfriend who was, do we know anything like that was in the house and that was possibly suspect? I don't know, but I know that, the police are clearly probably waist deep in evidence. I can't even imagine how much tangible evidence they have to go through at this point, which is why I thought that the FBI would be involved because, again,
they probably have a lot of evidence. By the way, guys, I suggest you guys watch this video because I don't know why it doesn't have more people looking into it. It's very informative. And with Steve, like I said, I've invited Steve to our house over here. So hopefully I'll be able to talk to him. I know he's a busy guy. So shout out to Steve. But yes. And thank you. I don't know her. You're absolutely right. It's in the DSM. It's considered a disorder. Yes. So if it's in the DSM now, it doesn't mean it's a disability or anything. Like I get where people tend to get really offended about things that you shouldn't be offended about. Me saying that it's a mental health issue or a mental illness, it's because it's in the DSM. You have to get a diagnosis for it. There's a criteria for it. So just so people are aware. And oppositional defiance disorder is another one too, which is what a lot of kids deal with today. They don't want to follow rules. They're oppositional to the stuff, maybe a teacher and stuff like that. So keep that in mind. Yes, you said it's a neurodivergence. This is splitting hairs, says Karen. I know, right? Okay, guys. Another piece. So they had Lauren and Pascal on the show, and I thought their commentary was very interesting. But y'all, let me know what you guys think. I had to pull some other receipts as well while we're on this. Hold up. News Nation has a whole segment on this now. They got a whole little thumbnail. Shout out to them.
Online sleuths have been on this story from the jump. Lauren Conlin is the host of the true crime podcast, The Outlier, and Pop Crime TV on YouTube. And Pascal hosts the very popular Pascal Show. Welcome to both of you. Okay, you guys, I want to play some video that TMZ obtained today, and we'd heard about it, but now we're seeing it for the first time.
Ooh.
It's video of Celeste run.
I want to ask you guys in the comments, okay? Because y'all know I love talking to you. What do you guys think about this video? Now, we talked about it yesterday, kind of at the very end, so I couldn't really get into it. What do you guys think about this video? How did they determine that this was actually Celeste? You can't really see a face. It sounds like they're using this video because the sister or somebody in the family recognized her and said, this is her. How? It's so blurry.
Towards a car that she gets into.
How do you know?
She's walking and running alternately. But there's a woman who passes her. And watch what the woman does. She turns around. Celeste doesn't even acknowledge her at all. But this woman in the foreground here turns around and notices Celeste and then just keeps on walking. I'm trying to think of all the different reasons someone might do that. Is the girl crying because she's running towards something?
I just don't know. How do we know? If we had it, listen, y'all remember that Reddit video that TMZ put out there? They got it from Reddit and they said, this is Celeste. And then they were like, well, we can confirm it's not Celeste, just somebody that looks like Celeste. That girl had her full face. And even I thought it was Celeste for a minute. How are we determining this is Celeste? Because this just looks like a person walking. How do we know? Can somebody give me an explanation? Because I don't know if I know that this is Celeste the more I think about it.
And she looks like she's in distress. Does this woman perhaps recognize Celeste and doesn't understand why Celeste didn't acknowledge her? But I wanted to get both of your thoughts on it. Lauren, you jump in first. Tell me what you think about this.
Yes, Ashley, that was also my first thought, is perhaps Celeste looked distressed. She looked upset. But, the running is really concerning here. We can't see the full frame, but we don't know necessarily if she's running from anyone in particular. Another thing I noticed is that I didn't see a backpack or a bag that she's wearing, which I think is also really rare for.
You said that the sister recognized her. So this was supposed to be March of last year in 2024. This was a video footage that the convenience store owner, liquor store, and shout out to BJ because I was listening to her say about why do they call it a liquor store? In Cali, a convenient, it's like interchangeable. I used to live in the neighborhood where it was a liquor store / convenience store, but we call it the liquor store because that's where they sold liquor. Now, liquor's everywhere. You can everywhere, right? But they also had chips and drinks and kind of like what J-Lo, a lot of people would call a bodega. It would be like a convenience store. So yeah, like it's interchangeable. You don't have to be, you could be 5 years old and walking to the liquor store and getting a bag of chips and a soda. Of course, they're not going to sell you any kind of drink, but yeah, it's like interchangeable. That thing is in Cali all the time. Yeah, I know, right? Ashley, the sister said it was her, but I had to think about it. I said, well, how do we know? Because I mean, how does she recognize her? That's what I don't know. We don't know. We don't know. It's one of those things where you kind of have to. Yeah, you said we call it a corner store here. We call it a corner store, liquor store. La licor in Spanish is la licor. The 7-Eleven, it's like anything. So yeah, shout out to BJ because I was listening. I was like, it's interchangeable. I think, yeah, like you can have. Hell, I've seen when we lived in the neighborhoods, because I'm from California. So like the liquor store, yeah, you just walk over there. I'd be 5 or 6 years old walking to go get a drink, and they had all kinds of alcohol, but that's just how it is.
For a young girl to just sort of take off without her belongings. So was she in some kind of rush?
Mm-hmm.
Was she in trouble? It's all just incredibly heartbreaking as we see this after the fact, knowing how she met her tragic end.
That is such an incredible observation, Pascal.
Maybe she recognized her pants. Maybe she said that's her pants or that's her walk. But you can't say you recognize her face because I wouldn't be able to tell you that we do recognize her face.
Jump on that. The fact that if she's running, let's just say, towards David's car, and
here's the question that I have, though, and this is for the chat. If this video is from last year, why is this video relevant now? What this video tells me is that parents, mom, sister, they were worried, or whoever was worried about Celeste. They wanted to see if there was footage of her so they could see what direction she ran to. This footage isn't recent. This is 2024. I believe it was March. Why is this footage relevant now? Somebody let me know in the comments. Why is this even relevant now? Not to sound like I am like I'm discounting, but is this relevant now? She's not meeting anybody in the frames. Okay, Boogie Bella says it's not. I don't think it is. No relevance. Why is it relevant now? That's the question that I have. You said it helps with timelines for 2024? You want me to look at the Discord messages? I will, Vicky, while I play this. But it can't be the last known location if this is 2024, you guys. This can't be her last images. It can't. This is 2024. Why is it relevant now? That's what I want to know.
It's 7 o'clock in the morning, too, so she may have left home ostensibly to go to school, but has no belongings, no backpack, maybe no plan. David certainly has plenty of money to buy her any clothes and toiletries or anything else she might need.
Well, I think that those observations are really, really good. I mean, I think that maybe because she has a history of running away, maybe that person is somebody from the neighborhood that's like, oh, where's she going? Maybe she recognized her for a second there because she has a past of running away. Maybe that's what it is too.
Yeah, it's frustrating though, because I mean, I do that. I spin around and I look at somebody who passes me, but only.
Yeah, this is a good point. Maybe it's to give like reference to like her family was looking for her. They collected this footage from her. I can believe it. I just think that they were having a hard time. Once David got a property, it was easier for her to have a place to go, right? And to stay. Did the parents know that she was staying at that property? Were they aware? We don't know. You said it's because she had been gone for 18 months and the last time seen on camera. Oh, Ronan, maybe this is the last footage of her if she was gone for that long. If the video is from March 2024, she ran away April 2024. It might be close enough to show patterns of problems. She ran 4 times and she was brought back at least once that we know of, right? That we know of. That was the last time that she was seen on video. But to hide her for a whole year, but what about those streams? Because they were streaming together. That's not they were together, y'all. Right? Unless we're saying that's not her, that's a different Celeste. I don't know, man. It's an interesting question.
If there's a reason, right? There's got to be something that would make you break your stride. And clearly, Celeste does not break hers. She makes no acknowledgement of this woman at all. And again, is it possible she's on the phone talking to David or talking to whomever it is she's going to meet up with and get in the car? Because what we don't see on this video, and I should make this really clear to our viewers, is that the liquor store owner knew after this frame, when she actually walks out of frame, he saw her get into a car. He just couldn't remember what kind of car. It was nondescript. It was far away. But
he saw her get somewhere. Was it the Tesla? That would have been interesting if that was in frame or if he would have remembered that, right? Oh my God, it was the Tesla. The video is very blurry. Pika, thank you so much for the $2, my love. Shout out to my beautiful, wonderful mods. She said, hit the like button, please, and thank you. Please do, guys. It does help us out in the algorithm. You know, any kind of support in terms of hitting the like button is always free and very much helpful. I appreciate you guys. Thank you, guys. And thank you guys for being here. Y'all can be somewhere else, but you're here. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Saw her get into a car. So we know that this was the last time she was seen. And before this, she's alternately running and walking and running and walking. Clearly, she's agitated in some way. Let me move on to the Tesla photos and the tow report that this private investigator, Steve Fisher, broke on our show earlier tonight. I was fascinated, you guys, by the condition of the car. I thought I'd seen it, you know, from the drone shots, but wow. Pascal, look at the dirt that's caked on this thing.
Oh, yeah. I mean, this thing is caked up with pollen, dirt, and all kinds of soot. I mean, what Stephen Fisher did say, that observation was a very, very good observation. I totally agree. This car has been sitting there for a while. I think it's been more than when it was reported that it was just sitting there, you know, unattended to. So now the question is, how long has it really been sitting there?
Yeah, and how long was she in it? Because
yes,
there are all sorts of possibilities here. That car could have been parked there for the month plus that some of the people Steve Fisher spoke with said. They thought maybe more than a month, but maybe she wasn't in the trunk for all of that time. So, you know, weigh in on
Karen's like, listen, I should report the news. These people are slow as AF. Girl, you know, notice how social media is on 10 before anybody else. And then they come back, they're like, well, we found out. And I'm like, no, you didn't, because this channel found this out on this day. And then you just went in and ran in and did the news.
on that, Lauren. The fact that this car is banged up as well. It's only a 2-year-old car. It shouldn't be as banged up as Steve Fisher said he saw in the photos. Big, big dents in it and just a lot of wear and tear.
Right, Ashley. Well, what really gets me is just as a human being, if you know that you're going away for a long time, generally you park your car in your garage or in your driveway. So this almost tells me that, you know, he left in haste.
It's weird because it is a pretty beat up car. I don't know. Maybe I just take care of my cars. Different generation. We tend to appreciate things a little bit different, especially if we don't want another, you know, car loan or a bill. We take care of things very differently because we're like, we don't want another car note. This is a very nice car, right? Regardless of how I feel about whatever Tesla is, it's a very nice car.
But that really, you know, that shouldn't be the case. He knew he was going on tour. He knew his schedule. So I personally just keep asking myself this question. I know the car was parked in the vicinity of the Hollywood Hills home. But again, you knew you were going away. If you had any knowledge about a body in your car, I mean, come on. Wouldn't you put that in the garage? Wouldn't you put that in the driveway?
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense to me. And I'll tell you what, I don't care how much money you make, a $104,000 car is still an expensive asset. It's not something you toss around. Even if you're spending,
Yeah.
$20,000 a month for a mansion, you don't usually just forget about your $104,000 asset that's parked 150 feet away on the
Hell no. How do you forget about that? I'd be so scared to be driving that stuff around. Shout out to Vicky, my mod, who sent me this. Is David being framed? Now, that was a theory that a lot of us had. Now, you said they plagiarized content creators. They're changing the narrative. Is David being framed? Shout out to the person. There's been a person in the chat who's been saying, well, the dismemberment. Guys are walking that back because the coroner's office haven't said that. I told you guys I was going to show you that coroner little write-up. I'll show you guys again. But let's get into this. So apparently, yeah, Garagos, right? Garagos might be David's attorney here coming up pretty soon. I don't know, because he does take on cases. He was representing the ketamine queen, by the way, for those that don't know, the woman who supplied Matthew Perry the ketamine. Okay. Yep.
Some people think David did it. Here he is with this underage girl, body is in his car, but he would have to be a psychopath.
Hey, it's not even psycho. Psychopaths are not that stupid.
Somebody's not thinking straight, and they're thinking that's going to make it look like he did it, which to me points in the opposite direction. But a lot of people would say, oh, it's got to be him then. So somebody who is inclined to frame David, that's what you would do.
I don't even know that you have to go to the point of saying I'm going to frame. You just want to get suspicion off of you. I guess the natural consequence of is that they're going to focus on him. But it does make a lot more sense to me that something happened.
So this is, again, for those that don't know, this is Harvey Levin and Mark Garagos. They have a podcast called, what is it? Two Disgruntled Men, or Two Aging Men, or Two Men. I could keep going and fill in the blank, but they sit there and they talk about kind of the cases and stuff like that. I know TMZ really changed it too. That's what I'm saying. You got to pay attention to what TMZ is saying, because you just never know. TMZ is directly involved one way or another in this case. I know it's Two Angry Men, but Two Bitter Grandpas. I don't think, does Harvey Levin have any grandchildren? I don't think he does. Oh my God. Y'all, two men. Anyways, let me stop. I was making jokes. Okay, so TMZ is changing the tune about their thoughts on this case, which they can. Anybody can change their opinion. But let's get into this. Let's go back a little bit here, okay?
In terms of being prosecuted for a subsequent death. And by the way,
Mac Miller, Matthew Perry.
Yeah. And by the way, it also gives you at least some kind of clarity on this idea of how stupid would he have to be to have put the body in his own car. Now, if he's left and he's on tour and somebody is there at the house and, something horrible happens, what better way to kind of deflect from you than to dump it into his car, go park the car and say they'll focus on him and I'll be scot-free.
Yeah. Well, let me put that on steroids for a second.
Oh my goodness.
He writes a song called Romantic Homicide. He writes a song about an obsession with a girl named Celeste. He is dating this 14-year-old girl. And the body ends up in the trunk. So the other way of looking at it is maybe whether it was murder, a drug overdose, somebody could have said, I don't want this to be me, but I can frame him because of all those things. People are going to jump to the conclusion everybody's jumping to. It's got to be David.
We talked about this. Could he have been framed? Maybe I should do a poll. Do you guys believe he could have been framed? Let's do a poll.
So what better way than to put the body in the car? You know, somebody's not thinking straight and they're thinking that's going to make it look like he did it, which to me points in the opposite direction. But a lot of people would say, oh, it's got to be him then. So somebody who is inclined to frame David, that's what you would do.
I don't even know that you have to go to the point of saying I'm going to frame. You just want to get suspicion off of you. I guess the natural consequence of is that they're going to focus on him. But it does make a lot more sense to me that something happened. Somebody was at the house who had access to the car. I mean, you would think that if you got access to the house, you would have access to the car.
Can I stop you for just a sec? Can I stop you for a second?
Sure.
I spoke to somebody early on who is in the middle of all of this, who said a lot of people had access to that car.
Shut your mouth. Y'all hear that? A lot of people had access to that car, guys. You cannot make that. What did my mod Vic say yesterday? He's either really unlucky, really innocent, or really stupid, like one or the other. Who in their right mind? This is like a premeditation, or even if it wasn't premeditation and he just freaked, you know, it doesn't make sense. But also, like, I still don't think that he's an innocent person at all, because you're still with the minor. TMZ knows a lot more about this. Their law enforcement resources and blah, 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 blah. And the connections and the people that they have in there, girl. The Tesla key, I don't know if there's any truth to that, because I don't know. I don't know how much truth I put into that. Y'all heard about the Tesla key? Apparently there's a Tesla key. We don't know if it belongs to David. We don't know if it was planted. We've been through this before in true crime where people plant shit just for content. It does happen, unfortunately.
Yeah, well, that would make sense, right? I would assume that the people who had access to the car had access to the house, and which fits in with what you have at least developed, which is there was a party house. What does a party house mean? It means that there's a lot of activity, people coming and going. How many times you've seen police reports or anything else about houses, especially in this location, in that geographic area, where somebody is renting it? I mean, you've covered the stories. I've defended the cases where these houses, or there's certain houses, whether you call them a party house or a flop house or whatever you want to call it, that people are coming and going as kind of a safe refuge, and the neighbors are going crazy.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, I've been waiting for days to talk to you about something. So David is 20 and he's dating a 14-year-old. If David had nothing to do with this girl's death, is David in trouble?
Look, could he be prosecuted? Yes. If she were alive, a lot more likely. I've had, in the last 10 years, I've probably done 3 or 4 of those cases. In the ones that I have handled, it is always a case where there's a very kind of truncated, if you will, age gap. And there was always an indication in the cases I've handled where they didn't know the true age of the girl. And only
I don't think that's the case here. They have been dealing with each other. Well, excuse me. He had been grooming her, in my opinion, for a couple of years. I don't think that this is like a situation where she lied about her age or anything like that. And I know I've had people in my comments say, this is what it is, y'all. I'm sorry. I'm not believing it. No, I'm not.
Learned it either during the relationship, after they'd fallen in love, or something along those lines. For somebody to bring a statutory rape case, and somebody would be the LA County DA, I can't imagine anybody in the sex crimes unit is going to say, hey, we don't have enough evidence to say that we've got a homicide here. We don't have enough evidence besides being a homicide to elevate it to murder, but we're going to pursue a statutory rape. Highly unlikely, unless there's something,
Yeah.
which obviously there could be, that we don't know yet.
Maybe there is something that we don't know. Maybe, I don't know, man. Maybe there's more to this case, but see, they're interviewing people that are close to the situation, quote unquote friends, right? Friends that are close to the situation. We just don't know. You said it just gave me grooming. No adult can date a minor, period. Say that louder. No excuse as to why David should keep his career. People just need to be okay with nuance. Absolutely. David was wrong. David was wrong. Okay, 1 second, guys. Yo, I'm telling you, I'm live and everybody acts like I'm not live. Sorry about that. People just need to be okay with nuance. David was wrong to be with that little girl, and the state still has to prove their, homicide case beyond a reasonable doubt. Absolutely, young Black economist. And I do believe, I don't know, maybe it's a clear-cut case for all we know. There's a lot of speculation, Pyrex, thank you so much for the $4.99. With the Tesla app, anyone can connect to the car, can control the car from the app. Oh my goodness, even remotely, no key necessary. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know, man. I just don't know if I believe that little. So they said that they found this little Tesla key. It was like a card or something. I don't know, man. There's a lot of people that drive Teslas. I just don't know if that's the case. But y'all, let me know what you guys think. We'll do it during live. What about? Ooh, that's a good point. Was the battery dead? Like, is there a way where, like, is that the only way to drive it? Either through your phone app or through the little key card? There's no other ways to turn on. I've never been on a Tesla, guys. Maybe you guys can help me out. Yeah, police are not good at investigating these little online crimes. Yeah, harassment and swatting and crime. Yeah, you're right. Happens a lot more. Even if that Tesla car key is his, I'm not sure the significance. There you go. There you go. That's the question. Mags, thank you for being a member for 13 months. Thank you, love. New sub here. I love your channel, and I'm so happy to have found you. Well, thank you. Welcome, you guys, to the new channel members and channel subscribers. It doesn't matter that the car was not moved for weeks before reported. How long was it moved? I just have a lot of questions. That dirt there? And even if he didn't move it, let's just say that he had left there. What was he driving? What was he on? Does he own any other cars? That's the question that I had too. Like, is this the only car? Was there any other cars? I don't know. Can I see it? Can I show it off? Let me show it off, okay? Bring it over here, y'all. I got to show you guys something before we move on. No, bring it over here. I want to show it. Do y'all remember? This might be a little childhood toy for people because it definitely was for me. Come here, Mama. Bring it. Thank you. Let me show it. Come on. Bring it. Let me show y'all. Okay. You want me to show it? Y'all remember this childhood? To put a 1 in the chat if you remember this. Hold up. Y'all remember this? Put a 1 in the chat if you remember this. Little fishing pond. She's into this right now. Anyways, all right, I'm done. You okay? Go play with it. She wants me to give it to her. You can put the sticks right here too. See? All right. Y'all remember that? Yeah, she's into that one right now. Oh my God, childhood toys. Mags, thank you for being a member for 13 months, my love. Thank you, Mags. And thank you for this 20. Happy Saturday virtual hugs. Y'all know the CEO, if you're new to this channel, the CEO runs the channel. That's why she's here. The sitter's in the other room. She gets to go everywhere. You still have yours? Oh my God. Childhood toys. Some of those toys never go old. Like you just got to buy it and it kills time with it. She loves it and everything. And thank you, Max, for gifting 5 memberships. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it. If you guys have been gifted, make sure you guys are dropping hearts. Okay. The CEO is the boss. Yeah, she's the boss. You got a whole pun here. Okay, hold on. Here, hey, it's Jay. The key card can't come into play to show who dropped it off when the security cams. I don't know, man. Did they call law enforcement? I mean, what is law enforcement saying about the key cam? I just don't know how much validity I put into that. How do you know it wasn't just placed there? Y'all remember in the Gabby Petito case, there was a water bottle situation where listen, correct. Some of you guys are historians of this. Correct me if I'm wrong. In the Gabby Petito case, people were planting evidence and then making it sound like it was actual evidence of the crime scene. Put a 1 in the chat. Y'all remember the Gabby Petito case? I think it was like a water bottle, right? Something to that effect. She's 3, Obsidian. And shout out to Obsidian, y'all, because Obsidian is the GOAT too. Shout out to Obsidian. Guys, remember? That's what I'm saying. It's like you have to kind of wonder, are people just planting things or is there relevance to it? Just a thought. But people do that. They do be planting stuff, just to make content off of it. I don't know. Doesn't a Tesla? I think they have to pay for the camera too, to like for it to be working. Yeah, it was pretty cruel. Some people are crazy attention seekers. Yeah, that's why you got to be careful. Like, I don't know if I believe everything, but hell, maybe there's some truth to some stuff. Now, hold up. People, shout out to everybody. I got footage of this area too. Why was David in New Mexico on August 12th, 2025?
Sure people know. I cannot agree with this comment more. This video that's been circulating of David walking US Route 66 in Santa Rosa, New Mexico,
y'all heard this?
Which is a highway that stretches all the way to Chicago, of him waving goodbye to this specific motel, which is 12 hours away from his freshly abandoned home in Hollywood Hills, should definitely be looked into. Definitely given the fact that this motel is usually for passerbyers, I wonder where he was actually headed, or what this motel was used for specifically. However, for those who think David is innocent, you're going to love my next video. I think I actually know who Robin River is. Celeste is making sure people know. I cannot agree with this comment more. This video that...
Whoa. And who's Robin River? Who's Robin River? Anybody? Never heard of that name before. You see what I'm saying? It's like there's just so many nuances to this case that I'm like, my goodness, is this it? Is this true? Some of this stuff on TikTok, especially because it's a shorter video, I do wonder. Like, somebody said that this is footage of her. No.
Put behind bars for the rest of his life.
Someone allegedly visited David's house.
Who is this? This is such an AI video.
Him to be put behind bars for the rest of his life.
Someone allegedly visited David's house, posted these pictures, and said, found literally right in front of his house this morning. I live pretty close to David's place. Just wanted to go check out the area.
They're using the Tesla card, guys.
And ended up finding this Tesla's key right in the gutter behind some leaves. He posted a picture of the card, he posted where he found it, and he showed that he is in front of David's house. Now, this of course upset many people because he's putting his bare hands and fingerprints on something that, if true, could be vital evidence. Now, usually with a Tesla, your phone is the key, so people are wondering, was somebody moving the car for David? Was this card planted? And who was driving the car last? They also released the initial complaint of the car, which happened on August 26th, and in the details, the caller mentions that there's a dent in the back of the car, but they make no mention of any odor. This is the official impound report where it says they went there on August 27th to mark the tires with chalk to see if the car moves. They come back on 9/3 and issue a citation, and they don't come back to tow the vehicle until September 6th. And again, not a single mention of a smell or odor from all of those people who were around this vehicle time and time again. And the fact that they took 10 days to tow the vehicle that Celeste was inside of helps the suspect immensely, because anything could have happened in that time. They also revealed that David's mom was seen shopping at a firearms store holding an instruction manual for a semi-automatic rifle. They also revealed security footage of Celeste's last moments before disappearing from home.
I want him to be put behind bars for the rest of his life.
Someone allegedly visited David's house, posted these pictures, and said, found literally right in front of his house this morning. I live pretty close to David's place, just wanted to go check out the area, and ended up finding this Tesla's key right in the gutter behind some leaves. He posted a picture of the card. He posted where he
Let me not hurt you guys because it's like playing over and over. I don't know. You think the key is cap? It seems cap. I don't know. You said Tupac about to get hit with the wrench. I know. Don't be like trolling my comments, y'all. I get it. You can have your comment, but like, why post it over and over? That's annoying. Literally. Okay, guys. Well, let me see what you say. Oh, my shorty. Robin is someone from the Discord chat group. So now we pulling out people. Oh, my shorty. Robin is somebody from the Discord. Never heard of a Robin. You think it's a nothing burger, Karen? I don't know, man. I call BS. The key is cap. I'm telling you, man, I've seen people find different things and it just nothing is any, some of it just doesn't come up. Hey, 2 a.m. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you. Yes, let's make sure that this young Latina child isn't forgotten. Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, guys, I'm going to let you guys go because I got to go tend to baby bunny and I got to take her out. And we're going to be playing this fishing game. Thank you guys so much for joining us today and supporting. I really do appreciate it. Did you catch a fish? I'm going to play with you on the fishes. Can I play with the fishes too? Is it my turn? Okay, but if I get all the fish, I don't want you getting mad at me. Okay. All right, girl. Expect a shorter video on the Laken Riley. It's going to be some of the clips that I pulled here and other information. But you guys are amazing. You guys have a wonderful, beautiful Saturday. I'll see you guys later on. I might be live tomorrow. All right, guys, have a good one. If more information comes out, of course, we're going to talk about it. Other than that, we have other cases to cover. All right, bye, guys. Hit the like button. Bye, guys.